Hello students, I am going to explain about the history of the chemistry. Already you have learned so many valencies, and now you are going to learn still more about the development of chemistry. In the process, you can learn wonderful chemistry. See here, uh, a first metal that was obtained from ores is copper. Copper ore is azurite. Azurite is blue color stone, and azurite is copper ore. Copper ore. Ore means ore. See that here ore is there. Copper ore means a rock or mineral that is containing lot of copper. Lot of copper, and so from this kind of stone you can get more amount of copper. How can you get copper? By burning it, by burning these blue color stones to high temperature of 1100 centigrade. Then copper from this stone will be separated. Copper from this stone will be separated. In the process, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, etc. also will be released. Okay. Anyway, obtaining copper from its metal ore, from its rock, from its metal rock ore is called smelting. Smelting is nothing but burning of stones to get metal. Burning of stones. See, if you burn all the stones, you will not get metals. But only certain metals you have, certain rocks only should be burned. Like azurite. If you burn azurite, you will get lot of copper. That process is called smelting. Smelting is nothing but a heating process in which rocks are melted to get metals. Suppose if you burn hematite, you will get iron. If you burn azurite, you will get copper. If you burn cassiterite, you will get tin, like that. Okay. See, in the ancient times, azurites are available some few locations like Sinai Peninsula. Sinai Peninsula somewhere here, and Zagros Mountains. They are in the Iran, present day Iran. Okay. Anyway, in ancient times, people had to travel long distances. The long distance travel finally helped the ancient people to invent wheel, because wheel, by invention of wheel, they invented carts, carriages to pull, to carry the heavy luggage with them very easily. Okay, once the wheel was invented, the long distance travel had become very convenient. Okay, otherwise long distance travel had become very burdensome, very hard, and so whenever people finds difficult, they invent new things to overcome those difficulties. So in the process, the ancient people invented wheel. Wheel is one of the biggest invention in the history of the world, and these are all copper age weapons. Copper age weapons. Okay, and next one is uh, see, I already told you azurites were burned to get copper. See, azurites means copper ore. To burn the azurite, they were used in the ancient times. What they were people were doing is they were digging a some den, like some dent on the ground. In the dent, they were putting a rock bowl called crucible. Rock bowl is called crucible. Okay, in the crucible they were putting azurite stones. Okay, below the crucible they were putting wood, and they were burning the wood, and by this process they were able to generate very high temperature of 1000 centigrade, which is required for azurites to melt and to give away copper. Okay, this is about copper production, and important point is the crucible is nothing but a rock bowl అంటే రాతితో చేసిన గిన్నె అని చెప్పవచ్చు. ఓకే, and next one is later the ancient people found that when copper is added with a little amount of tin, it is going to become much strong copper, that is called bronze. When copper is added with the tin tin, the resulting metal is bronze. The bronze is much stronger than copper. See, tin is available in another stone called cassiterite. Tin is available in another stone called cassiterite. Cassiterite is like a dark chocolate color stone, and in this stone you will find tin. Okay, now actually the tin is available in two locations. Cassiterite is available in two locations in the ancient times: Afghanistan. Another one is Cornwall of England. Actually, you have to add the copper and tin in the proportions, like 90% of copper plus 10% of tin is equal to bronze. Bronze weapons are stronger than copper weapons. After Bronze Age, we have Iron Age. Okay, next, next, actually, after iron age came iron oxide. Okay, right. See, iron, the point is I want to mention 2 points here. Iron age came very later. Okay, iron age started only 1200 BC. 1200 BC, but copper age started 8000 BC. Copper age started 8000 BC. After starting some 6000 years after copper age, 6000 years after copper age, we came to iron age. Okay, copper age, after copper age, when we entered bronze age. After bronze age, we entered iron age. Iron age roughly started around 1200 BC. Why iron age came later and came not very earlier, but it came very later. The reason is iron melting point is very much larger than copper. See that for iron melting point is about 1600 centigrade, 1600 centigrade, but copper melting point is only about 1100 centigrade. And so it is easy for the ancient people or even medieval people to get that high temperature of 1100 centigrade, but they could not able to produce that high temperature of 1600 centigrade by wood and crucible. By wood means generally available wood in the forest, and crucible means rock bowl. Using that methods, it is not possible to get a high temperature of 1600 centigrade, but it is possible to get 1000 centigrade or 1100 centigrade. And so ancient people were able to collect copper from azurite stones, but could not able to get iron from iron ores. Iron ore best example is iron oxide. Iron oxide is called hematite. Okay, that is the reason iron age became very later at 1200 BC. Let us see how, but how iron was invented by the ancient people called Hittites. The Hittites are nothing but people living in present day Turkey. See that. This is the reason. This is the present day Turkey, and in the Turkey, once upon a time, a kind of people were living. Those people are called Hittites. See that, Hittites. Those Hittites invented iron. How they invented? They invented iron about 1200 BC, like that. How they invented iron? See, iron was invented by first inventing charcoal from the wood. How the people will make charcoal from the wood? Charcoal will give very high temperature compared to just wood. Charcoal will give very high temperature. How people were able to make charcoal from the wood? See, to get charcoal, first we have to place all the wood on the ground, and later you should cover all the wood with soil and dust, and then you have to burn the wood. I mean, you have to burn the wood with little oxygen, because once the wood is covered with soil, very little oxygen will be transferred to the wood. Therefore, almost in the presence of very little oxygen, if a wood is burned, the wood become a kind of coal called charcoal. The charcoal will give very high temperature. Actually, this process was first discovered by Hittites. And charcoal is nothing but the wood burned in the absence of oxygen. That is a very important point. And absence must not complete absence, very with in the little with little presence of oxygen. Okay. Once charcoal was invented, iron ore means iron oxide. Iron oxide is called hematite. Hematite means iron plus oxygen. See that hematite stones are placed in the crucible, and there in the crucible itself charcoal also placed, along with they were using bellows to pump air. So to pump air, so in the air, in the presence of air and charcoal, the iron, the temperature, the Hittites very easily achieved the temperature of 1700 centigrade, like so. So iron ore melted away to give iron. Here the point is, actually, hematite is iron oxide. So to get iron only you have to remove oxygen. In the preparation of iron, what you are doing? You are putting iron ore. Iron ore means iron plus oxygen, and also you are putting charcoal. Charcoal means a coal. Coal is nothing but carbon. Once at high temperature, the carbon atoms of charcoal, carbon atoms of charcoal simply take away oxygen from iron ore. See, once the oxygen is taken away from iron ore, then only iron will be left. Because iron ore is nothing but iron plus oxygen. See that here, iron plus oxygen. Iron is there, oxygen. If you take away oxygen, only iron will be left. To take away oxygen, you have to need carbon, because carbon is the best element which will take away oxygen very quickly. So therefore carbon is called reducing agent. The presence of removing oxygen is called reduction. The process of removing oxygen is called reduction. Here carbon is removing that oxygen, and so carbon is called reducing agent. Actually, once you will get iron, it is pure iron. Pure iron is very spongy iron. It is not very useful to make hard weapons. Spongy iron is very pure iron with almost very little percent of carbon. So spongy iron is when heated. When little bit heated without any carbon, and if your carbon content is less than 0.05%, see that 0.05%, and that spongy iron becomes wrought iron. What is the use of wrought iron is, wrought iron is not very strong and not very soft, and in that state you can make very beautiful equipment from the spongy iron. See, what I want to say is, first you will get pure iron. Pure iron is not good enough to make any useful things. Therefore what you have to do, you have to add very little carbon, less than 0.05% carbon. Then that pure iron is also called spongy iron. When spongy iron is heated and added with carbon less than 0.05%, that spongy iron becomes wrought iron. Wrought iron especially is using wrought iron you can make beautiful designs. For example, Eiffel Tower is made up with wrought iron, because Eiffel Tower involves a lot of delicate designs. Those delicate designs are possible with wrought iron. Okay, a wrought iron is nothing but iron with less than 0.05% carbon. And if you want strong steel, very strong steel, you should add carbon of at least 1.5%, or if you add carbon 0.05 to 1.5% carbon to the iron, you will get that iron becomes steel. So iron plus carbon is equal to steel. Just for the time being, you just understand that iron plus carbon is equal to steel. If carbon is very small, that iron is called wrought iron. Wrought iron especially is you can make very beautiful designs, like the designs you will find on the fences and metal gates of big buildings, or staircases. See that the staircases are made up with wrought iron. This table is also made up with wrought iron. Wherever you want to make very complicated designs with a metal, there you have to use wrought iron. Okay, even Eiffel Tower is made up with wrought iron. But if you add some little bit more carbon content is 0.05%, 0.05%, 1%, 1.5% carbon is added. That iron become strong steel. Strong steel. Okay. Okay, I continue in the next class. Okay, thank you.